Finally, it's time to create another resource in our application that is going to represent lessons, because currently we are hard-coding all the lessons data directly inside the template. So what I'm gonna start with is I will create new model in our application called lesson. And along with this model creation, we also have to create a couple more additional files, such as factory and seeder, to generate random records in the lessons table. And with all that, we also have to create migration, by using which we're going to describe the structure of the lessons table in the database. And this way, as we can see, 4 files have been created at once. So let's start modifying them. We'll open up Create Lessons Table Migration, and in here, let's add a couple of columns that we'd like to add to the lessons table, such as column called number, which is going to be small integer. This column will store the number of the lesson to differentiate what this lesson is in a particular course. First one, second one, fifth one, etc. And then I'm going to create another column, which will be of string type, that is going to hold title of the particular lesson. And then in order to populate these columns with random data, I'm going to switch over to lesson factory class. Let's remove all these comments from here and describe which data we're going to assign to each column in the lessons table. So for the column called number, we're going to assign value 1 for now. And for the title, let's write the following expression. I'm going to use faker object to generate random words. We're going to generate words in the range from 2 to 6. And just to get all those words as one string instead of an array, we're going to specify true as the second argument. And then to make first letter of this sentence capital, I'm going to wrap this whole expression into UCFirst function call, like this. Alright, now we have to use this factory. We're doing so from within the seeder class. As the first step, we can copy the whole logic from the course seeder and paste it inside lesson seeder. But in here, of course, we'll have to change a few things, such as model name, because in here we are working with the lesson model. Firstly, we are truncating the lessons table before seeding it with random data. And to not overcomplicate things for now, I'm basically going to generate 200 random records into a lessons table. And please note that sometimes some classes that we reference in different files have to be imported first, such as in this case, model called lesson has to be imported inside lesson seeder. Alright, so to populate database with random data, we're going to execute dbseed command in the terminal. But before that, to make lesson seeder to also be executed, we firstly have to open up database seeder class and include our newly created seeder lesson seeder within this array, along with course seeder, like so. And this way, if we're going to run PHP artisan dbseed, both of these seeders will be executed, and courses table as well as lessons table will be populated with dummy data. And actually, before running seeders, let's get back to file with a migration and replace small integer method call with unsigned small integer, since lesson number will always be positive. And now in the terminal, before executing seeders, we have to execute migration to create lessons table. So I'm going to call PHP artisan migrate and specify seed flag. So the database will also be populated with dummy data. As you can see, this command has been executed successfully, and I expect to see new table called lesson in the database. And here is a list of all the columns of lessons table. 2 of those columns are those that we have specified inside migration, such as number and the title columns. And now that we have data generated inside lessons table, it's time to fetch this lessons data and show it on the page. Let's open up lessons.blade.php, and instead of using a range function in here, we're actually going to fetch lessons record from the database by using lesson model. For now, let's just take 20 rows and call method get to execute this query and get collection of lessons. And at every loop iteration, we'll be getting individual lesson model within lesson variable. This is only temporary solution where we are reaching database directly from within the template. But soon we're gonna change this implementation, so we'll be getting all the data in the template from the controller. For now, I'm going to reference individual lesson fields, such as number to show the number of the lesson, and the title. And after doing all that in the browser, we're actually going to see that all those lesson blocks now have different titles. So that means that this data comes from the database now. And one last change that I would like to do in this lesson is to fix the styles of this page, because as you can see, as I'm going to zoom out the page, we'll see that left column is much smaller than the right one. So let's make those two columns be equal widths. And the same class we're going to assign to the right block. And the grow class can be removed. And this way on the course detail page, we're getting two blocks with equal widths. At the end, I'm going to open up lesson.php, our lesson model, and remove this comment. Link to the source code of this project, as always, will be in the video description.